quick walk through the woods here. This is the spot where I seen an upright being dash into the woods. Area of a lot of stick structures. I got about 5 or 6 inches of fresh snow, so I just want to see what kind of tracks we have. There is a line of deer tracks. Absolutely. Yeah, there's quite a wind out today, but hopefully that dies off as we get into the woods. We're just gonna take a walk into the woods over here, look at some of the stick structures. I'm looking more for tracks, so anything walking around is gonna have to leave tracks at this point. At least anything that's flesh and blood. So we shall see. Right over there is where I seen the eyes. Closer to the ground than I seen that being run into the woods. So kind of right in that area right there. And I can see from here there's no tracks. So there's some firewood under the snow that I left the last time I was here. I did it overnight. We'll see if I can walk through this field without tripping. This is all clear cut, so there's just a ton of stumps and logs and all kinds of crap. Now it's covered with snow. There's actually at least 6 or 8, maybe more inches of snow here. Just walking through here. A little bit more than what I thought. I'm almost to the top of my muck boots in snow, so the trail coming in wasn't quite this deep, but this field is deep, probably windswept. Oh. It's nice and fluffy, not hard to walk through, but it's just all the stumps and logs underneath make it tricky. Yeah, there's a line of deer tracks. There's one of the stick breaks. That's about the 10-foot level. That's an older break. Top's bent down that way. Almost like a little cubby right there. Get up in here. That's the top right there. Here's another one of the breaks right here. Low to the ground. There's a series of 3 right there. This is where I sat that one night. Right here where these 3 breaks are. There's one there. Another one behind it. Another one behind that's hard to see with all this snow. That gives you a little better perspective from the other side. back, which is completely covered at the break. A lot of these trees are just bowed over right now from this first heavy snowfall of the year. We actually had a couple snowfalls, but there's another one of the breaks. If you look at some of my earlier videos, these are real clear. No snow on the ground. If you're watching this on TikTok, then go to my YouTube channel under the same name. I got a lot more videos there. But I'm looking for the series of 3, and I thought I knew right where they are. And apparently I don't. There's a top right there. It broke off right there. Which could be just natural. Some of these are definitely not, like the series of 3 back there. Those have been here for years. I've documented these. This is where my grandson and I heard samurai chatter coming from. Only time I've experienced that. This has a long history of activity here. If you go straight east through the woods, you have M77. There's a Mennonite church there. There's been a dogman encounter there by a young lady that I know, right in the parking lot of the church. Then I was informed recently by a friend of mine that apparently in the 80s, the minister of the church there was trapped inside the church at night for the whole night by something large, dark, and hairy. Wouldn't let him out. Which, of course, I don't know if they have a phone inside the church back then, but nobody had cell phones back then. So that had to be a hell of a night. And if you just go a couple miles down the road from there, I have an ex-girlfriend that had a dogman encounter on the roadway. Past it. The head of it was on all fours, but we were going right down the road following deer. The deer come up here and herd for the year, but come from the north. Not necessarily here. There's a little too much snow here, but you get over towards Curtis. I have an off-grid place over there, and she had it come right down the road and pass her. And the head of the animal was about 5 feet off the ground, so that's discounts any normal wolves. They don't get anywhere near that big. We got lots of wolves up here, but nothing that size. And then the same friend told me about the minister. Just had a friend of hers get a hold of her. Told her they were out snowmobiling. It would have been northeast of here by several miles, but they encountered a dogman on the trail. He said it was an upright wolf. He had a pistol on him, and he fired a shot just to scare it away, and he said it just vanished. Which I don't know what to make of that. Of course, I don't know what to make of the whole dogman thing. Boy, this heavy snow has blowed a lot of these trees over since before the snow. This area was originally reported, I think it was a BFRO report. I'm trying to remember, it's been years, but Anyways, one of our group members, Rich Meyer, who's also a BFRO investigator, he picked up the report. Guy was bow hunting out in here and set up a stand right in this area. I spent 2 full days back in here a few years ago. I just zigzagged this whole place for 2 straight days trying to find that stand. Rich has seen it before, but I doubt whether anybody took it because it was just bent to shit. But anyways, first day the guy was out here, no deer, no nothing, just got an eerie feeling. And it is a typical bow stand, probably holds 350 pounds. I think it was the second day, it might have been the third day, but walked out to a stand, kept seeing no deer, eerie feeling, being watched. Went out to a stand and something had grabbed the platform, which is about 12 or 14 feet off the ground, and just bent it straight down. He seen that, turned around, left, and never went back. Left it sitting right there in the tree. They were just sending him a message. Get out of our home range. So the last time I was out here was at dark, at night. I was up on that hill there, this gully down here. I just had a weird feeling. Had my dog with me, German Shepherd. She started getting real antsy. I just had a feeling of being watched from over there. So she definitely picked up on something, started whining. There is a set of deer tracks going through the snow. I'm going to do a mouth pop, it really echoes you through here usually. There's actually a chickadee right over there. Usually I see no birds out here, nothing. More stick breaks, free breaks I should say. I noticed all the breaks here, they don't all go in the same direction, but when they're together, they're all facing the same direction, if that makes sense. So you got one there, and the one right below it. There, maybe that makes it a little easier to see. And the one right there. Both go in the same direction. There's another one there. This one's closer to the ground. There's the top to a tree broke off there. Hanging down that way. Look back to those 3 trees over there. There's another one right in front of them there, though. Broke there. Those 3 broke there. Those are all facing the same direction. Alright, there's the 3 I've been looking for. They are just covered in snow. But you got one. if you can see this. One broke off right there, bent downwards. Another one right beside it. Right there's the bend. Downwards. Another one right there beside it. Coming right down here. They all face this direction, which is the direct opposite of the other ones. All three right in a row though. One in the middle is probably 5.5 foot off the ground. Those are a little over 6 foot. Those are 6.5, pushing 7 foot. So all right in a row, all facing the same direction. They've been here for a few years at least, because I found these a couple years ago. So, oh, there's some deer tracks. Other than a few deer tracks, I've seen nothing. Once again, if you check out my YouTube channel, you'll see summertime video of this, which is a lot clearer without the snow. Like I said, today it's just about looking for tracks. See what's been out and about here. Back over by where the truck is parked is the only place I've seen a mountain lion up here. That was on a thermal imager. Just got up and trotted away, which is a good thing. I just heard what sounded like a car door, which is really odd because there's nobody around here. I was the only tracks coming in. Another break. Well, we just kind of did a big loop through the woods, kind of zigzagged actually. Over there's where all the stick breaks are. And we cut through the woods here. We're going to come out on that clear cut where the truck's parked. So, pretty nice day. About the nicest day we've had. We haven't had any sunshine, but it's almost sunshine out. So at night when I had the eyes reflecting from the flashlight right over there, whatever I seen dash into the woods is right there. I mean, I hit it with a spotlight. Basically where the Titan is parked, I have my Tundra with the rooftop tent. I just got here, it was already dark out. I was setting up camp, but it's on my YouTube channel. I don't know if it's on TikTok or not, but I don't really focus on TikTok. But I kept watching these eyes closer to the ground. There was 2 sets of them, and they were kind of zigzagging back and forth. And I was trying to figure out, it obviously wasn't a deer. Should have been a wolf or coyote, because they should have been spooked, and they would have, especially a coyote, would have been gone. And I mean, there's a couple 100 yards in between. But at the one point, I hit it with a flashlight, and as soon as I hit the light, I seen the eyes, and right behind the eyes, I mean, it was less than a half a second, something upright just dashed into the woods. And the eyes are still there, so that was just weird. Then I started digging for the thermal, and by the time I got that out, the eyes are gone, everything's gone. So I sat there for 24 hours contemplating what I seen before I even posted a video on it, because you start self-doubting what you actually seen, especially when it's that fast. The weird thing is, this is all dry ferns, there's sticks. You can't walk quietly through here when there's no snow. And whatever that was made no noise. Pretty weird. And the last time I was out here, I spent the night, and it seems like it's always when I'm setting stuff up. So Next time I come out here to spend the night, I'll have cameras rolling, sound recorder rolling, everything before I even get out of the truck. But there was a scream from right where I just came from, and the only way I can describe it was Godzilla, pterodactyl, T-Rex. It didn't sound like a Bigfoot. I've heard those lots of times. So I don't know what it was. It was one long, drawn-out scream, probably lasted 8 to 10 seconds. And then nothing happened the rest of the night. I got down in the 20s that night. Pretty odd. Well, at least we had a beautiful walk. No tracks except for a few deer tracks. The more I get into this and more experiences I have, I mean, I kind of like everybody else, I started out with it's an undisclosed species of ape thing. But the more I get into it, I think there's way more to it than that. Everything from the speed at which they move, the fact that they can seem to come and go to places at will, and I don't mean just travel. Moving with no noise. There's definitely an element to this that just doesn't seem natural. I'm not suggesting they're not flesh and blood, but I think Ron Moorhead he was definitely onto something, talking about quantum Bigfoot as far as Einstein's theory of relativity. I think these things use powers and half powers that most people can't wrap their minds around. Kind of like the more you get into it, the more questions you have than answers. But that's what keeps me going. All right, folks, peace out.